Hi everyone, it's me, Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be making this beanie here, and it's a basic hat crown increase. And you will be doing up to 60 stitches. Now in the video, you're going to see several different colorways and stuff like that because I am editing a previously made crown and brim because they're exactly the same. So I'm going to add them in, and then I'll teach you this stitch pattern repeat. It is a 2-row repeat, and you can change colors or leave it the same color or use self-striping, whatever you so choose. Now this is a very thick stitch pattern here, and it is worked in multiples of 2. So for instance, in the video today, you will see me do the crown up to 60 stitches, and you'll see me do the brim from 60 stitches, but you will also see me working on 40 stitches. So that is going to be a much smaller beanie. And as I said, it's in multiples of 2 for this stitch pattern. So for this, I used some older yarn that I had just to work it up and get an idea as to how that stitch worked in the round versus in the flat. This was Bear brand premium acrylic. This was $1.59 from BL. This was a long time ago. And it's some 4-ply knitting worsted, it says, and 100% DuPont acrylic. Machine washable and dryable. Let's see if it gives us a color. 44 is the color. And this is basically the same, just with a silver sparkle through it. So it's a Christmas yarn. And that's what I used for this. And I did it just so that way I could, work something up in 2 different colors and you could see what it looked like. So here we are. That's what it looks like. And you absolutely can do it in one solid color. Today I will be using in the video, as I said, multiple different colorways, but the 40 stitches that I'm going to show you the repeats, the 2 round repeat on, is going to be in this darker brown and lighter brown. All right, so those of you that like to do a magic loop, now's your time to shine. Those of us that like to do a chain 4 and slip stitch to that first chain, here we go. We're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to slip stitch to that very first chain to create a ring to work in. Now I do work over the top of my tail so that way I can use it to cinch up the ring. Now, I also do what is known as a mock double crochet, or some have called it a freestanding double crochet. I'm going to go through it real slow with you the very first time, or you can just do the chain 2 or chain 3 or chain 1 and double crochet. However you would do a starting stitch as a double crochet and you're most comfortable, feel free to do so. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to be doing it so that way when you see me do it throughout the pattern, you'll know what I'm doing. So I draw up a loop to the height of a double crochet, and I place my finger on that loop and I hold it so that way I can slide it back and forth, but it doesn't go around that hook. So I'm holding it nice and tight. I'm going to bring my hook towards me, down and under and back up. That gives us the appearance of 2 loops on our hook. We're going to come around and stick our hook into that ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. We now have the appearance of 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and go through 2. Now this loop you're holding is the top of that mock double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and go through those last 2 and place our stitch marker into the top of that mock double crochet. So right there underneath that loop we were holding. Now we're going to place 9 more double crochets into this ring, giving us a total of 10 double crochets when we slip stitch to our very first stitch. So I'm going to work on my 10 and I'll be right back. All right, so now we've made our 10 double crochets. At this time, you can pull that closed and sew in your tail if you so choose. You can wait until you're completely done to do that if you would like. Now we're going to place 2 double crochets in every single stitch all the way around for round 2. That will give us a total of 20 stitches for round 2. So just 2 double crochets in every single stitch all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and replace my stitch marker. There we are. And 2 double crochets in every stitch. I'll meet up with you after you have your 20 double crochets. All right, so round 3 is 30 double crochets. So we're going to 2 in the first one. Replace my stitch marker back into that first one. And 1 into the next. So that's what your repeat is for round 3. You're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch and 1 into the following. And repeat that all the way around for a total of 30 stitches for round 3. Moving on to round 4. Round 4, you will have 40 double crochets. So we're going to place 2 in the first stitch. 1 and 2. Replace my stitch marker. And 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And that is our repeat. 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Go ahead and continue around with that repeat for round 4. You will have 40 double crochets. I'll meet up with you at the end. All right, for round 5, which is 50 double crochets, we're going to place 2 double crochets into our very first stitch. And then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And that will be our repeat all the way around for round 5 for a total of 50 double crochets. So 2 double crochets into the next stitch and 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches for your repeat. All right, I'll meet up with you after we both have 50 stitches. All right, round 6 is our last increasing round, and we will have 60 double crochets. So we are going to place 2 double crochets into the very first stitch and 1 into each of the next 4 stitches. And that will be your repeat for the round. Two double crochets into the next. And 1 into each of the next 4 stitches. Again, at the end of round 6, you will have a total of 60 stitches. I will meet up with you at the end and we will move on to round 1 of our pattern round. So what I'm going to do is change colors to this lighter brown. So I'm going to pull back and get my last stitch there, and we're going to slip stitch to that very first stitch. Once again, I'm working on 40 stitch round for the tutorial. You would be working on a 60 stitch round for an adult. Everything is the same. I'm using a 6mm crochet hook with worsted weight yarn. All right, so once you have changed color, if you're changing color, if not, slip stitch to your very first stitch. We're going to chain one and single crochet back into that same stitch that we slip stitched to. There we go. All right. Now, every stitch around, we're going to single crochet into the back loop. Now we have a front loop, a back loop, or the whole stitch. I'm working back loop only. Single crochet into every back loop all the way around. We will be working into those front loops on the next round. Once you've made it to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch to your very first single crochet. And now we're going to do repeating round 2. For round 2, we're going to single crochet back into that stitch. So chain 1 and single crochet back into that first stitch. Now we're going to go down to the front loop of the second stitch, and we're going to do a cluster of 2 double crochets together. So we're going to pick up that front loop and only do half of a double crochet. Then we're going to go back into that same front loop and only do half of a second double crochet. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3. So we're going to skip the corresponding stitch, corresponding single crochet stitch to that stitch. And we're going to single crochet into the next stitch. And this is our repeat all the way around. We're going to go and skip the next front loop and go to the following, because we have single crocheted into the top of that stitch. So we're going to double crochet half of a double crochet, because we're doing a 2 together here. There's 1 half. We're going to go back in under that same front loop and another. So we have from our previous stitch and the 2 halves of double crochets, and we're going to yarn over and we're going through all 3 of those loops. So then we skip that and go into the following stitch with a single crochet. And that is our repeat all the way around. Let's do that one more time together. So we have that stitch and front loop that is already worked with the single crochet into the stitch. So we're going to go to the next front loop and we're going to do half of a double crochet and then yarn over, go back into that front loop again and do another half of a double crochet. And now we're going to close them up with a yarn over and go through all 3 loops on your hook. So then we skip that stitch because that working the front loop is for that stitch. And we're going to go and place a single crochet into the next stitch, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and work my way around, and then I'm going to show you the dark yarn. We'll pick back up and change colors for the next 2 rounds, and I'll show you how the dark looks on the lighter color. So your last stitch of the round will be the cluster stitch in the front loop, because we started with a single crochet. And now we're going to slip stitch to that single crochet, but I'm going to pick up the dark yarn now and use it to complete that join. Maybe. There we go. All right, that color change is done. So now we're going to start the first of the 2 round repeat. We're going to chain 1 and work a single crochet back into that stitch. You can do back loop, that's perfectly okay. Now we're going to work 1 back loop single crochet in every stitch around. You should still have 60 stitches, or in my case, 40 stitches. And we will be working in these front loops on the next round. All right, let's do a repeating round 2 again. We're going to chain 1 and single crochet back into that first stitch. Then we're going to jump down to, and it's a little easier to tell when you start after the first 2 rounds. You can easily tell that you're going to be working into the loop directly above that previous 2 double crochet together right there. You're going to be working into that stitch. So we're going to do that now. We're going to work 2 halves of double crochets into that front loop, and then yarn over and go through all 3. Then you skip the corresponding stitch from the row prior and single crochet into the following. Now we're going to jump and do it again. We're going to yarn over, we're going to skip the next front loop and go into the following, which is just above that cluster stitch from 2 rows below. And yarn over and pull through and go through 2 only. Yarn over, go into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 3. Skip that corresponding stitch and single crochet into the following. So that way your clusters are stacking one on top of the other. So here you can see the line right here. Now you can continue to do this, repeating those 2 rows all the way to the end and not put a brim on it. The amount of rows that you repeat. So here I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, 10 rounds right here. And those 10 rounds is a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3.5 inches. That right there is 3.5 inches. It's up to you. I like close to 4 inches worth of the body before I add a brim. Now the total from the crown down for this hat is 6 inches. So from the starting of the pattern to the bottom of the hat is 6 inches. You can adjust it to what suits you. Make it longer, make it 80 stitches around, make it a slouchy. You can do all kinds of different things. I just wanted to show you taking this stitch, from being worked in the flat for usually an Afghan stitch and turning it into the round, because it's a little differently worked when you take something from working it in the flat to working it in the round. So next in this video, I'm going to show you how I do my brim, and you take it from there. All right, let's go ahead and start the brim. So we're going to double crochet in every stitch all the way around for the first round of the brim. One double crochet in every stitch all the way around. You should have a total of 60 double crochets by the end of the round. I'll meet up with you at the end of the round. All right, this is going to be your repeating round for your brim. Now, you can do 3, 4 rounds, whatever you so choose. I generally do roughly 3 to 4 rounds for my brim. And it's just simply a front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around. Now, in order to keep a consistent front post, back post, if you are chaining, just go behind that post and yarn over and pull through for your first chain, like such. That way it pops that front post out. Now, if you do the mock double crochet like I do, we're going to mock double crochet, but we're going to front post it. Just like that, and replace our stitch marker. And you're going to do that with every round. The next one is a back post, double crochet, and then front post, double crochet, and back post, double crochet. And this is what you're going to do all the way around for as many rounds as you so choose to create your brim however wide you want it. I usually put the hat on my head, the beanie down on my head, and make sure that it at least covers past the bottom of my earlobe, and that makes a good size hat for me. So that's up to you. You do as you so choose and enjoy. All right, everyone. So that is it for this beanie. I hope that you have enjoyed the make, and if you make it, I would love to see it. Please share it in the Facebook group or send me a picture of it in an email, or tag me on Instagram or in your content if you have content. All right, everyone, all of that information and ways to support the channel are linked down below, down in the description box. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.